Solo tone zone.
Yeah, we're in the solo tone zone,
as they
baby.
call it.
Speed it up.
Let's do it.
We've had a lot of really incredible pay-per-views with AEW. It seems like they just kind of outdo each other time and time again. Where does Dynasty stack up for you? The very first Dynasty.
It's incredible. It reminds me of. It's funny because I was with you recently at Wintrust Arena, and it brought me a lot of memories of the first Revolution. And like it felt that night like we debuted a new franchise, and that's what it felt like tonight. Like we started a new franchise, and back-to-back pay-per-views. I mean, this is probably back-to-back my two favorite shows ever to do. That Revolution we just did at Greensboro and send Sting off, and you know that and the original Revolution are probably two of my favorites. I think the original Revolution and Revolution 2024, and tonight the first Dynasty. So. And you know, you take that and maybe put the original Double or Nothing and Double or Nothing 21 in there. That's pretty good. All Out 21's a good show, but this was definitely one of our best shows. We've got a lot of great ones. Back to back, these last two have been incredible. And you know, we had a tough act to follow because I thought the last Revolution, top to bottom, all the great matches on the show, with great matches like Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston, Ospreay versus Takeshita, you know, Mox and Claudio versus FTR, and to have Sting's retirement match. It was one of the best shows of all time, and then to follow it tonight, top to bottom, with one of the best shows of all time. I thought, to me, it was one of my favorite nights ever, and being up here with some new champions and some great wrestlers, it was really special.
Yeah, it feels like a very special time for the entire company right now. Guys, the floor is all yours.
Hey, Tony Garrett from Paste. Was there a specific moment or match when you realized Swerve was the guy that you were going to run with?
It's a great question. Definitely, I think in the Hangman Page matches, that's when Swerve, I think during his rivalry with Hangman Page, stepped up another level. I mean, I've thought for a long time Swerve's really, really interesting, you know. In Casino Battle Royale in 22 and the Royal Rampage in 22, Swerve really, not long after he arrived in AEW, started making a splash, throwing out some of the biggest names in AEW, swerving people in Casino Battle Royale 22, swerving people in the Royal Rampage, and then getting involved with his own tag team partner and kind of a rivalry, and then becoming a world champion as a tag team star, and then breaking out in a singles rivalry. He just kept stepping up further and further and further. But I definitely think the biggest leap was during his rivalry with Hangman Page, and I think that's one of the best rivalries ever in AEW, Swerve versus Hangman. And tonight, I think it, you know, he cemented his legacy, became the world champion officially, but certainly in recent months, I think Swerve and Samoa Joe has become this incredible rivalry, and it really, in recent weeks, I thought they had one of the best contract signing segments I've ever seen, and there's been so many contract signings in wrestling. We've seen so many, and I think for me, Swerve and Samoa Joe will go down as one of the best. And also, really, on Dynamite, went off with an amazing moment with that Swerve stomp on the pile and then the Muscle Buster, and they went into the pay-per-view on such a high note and then had an amazing match in the main event and left the pay-per-view on an amazing high note. It's been a really great week for the company in so many ways. And I think really, definitely Swerve has stepped up, but if the moment I think he took that leap is when you beat a former world champion like Hangman Page in iconic rivalry. I think that, you know, really cemented him to me. Thank you.
Next question over here.
Hi, Tony. Jack Garner of 89.1 KCLC. I want to ask you, everybody always talks about how great of a wrestling city St. Louis is. How do you think the crowd today lived up to that expectation?
It was fantastic. You know, it was years ago that I promised St. Louis they would get a great pay-per-view, and I think we lived up to it in every way, shape, and form, and the crowd lived up to it too. St. Louis is a great wrestling city with an amazing, amazing history. You know, when I was 12 years old, I used to talk to Luthez on AOL. And Luthez, and I picked up stuff from Luthez when I was like, Luthez taught me how great Buddy Rogers was, and he was totally right. When you go back and watch Buddy Rogers, like one of the best wrestlers of all time and one of the most influential of all time, and both of them, two of the most influential of all time. And great history of pro wrestling here in St. Louis, and I'm really happy that, you know, we've had shows here that have been excellent before, but tonight was by far the biggest attendance AEW's ever had. We had an amazing crowd, and I think one of the best shows we've ever done, and put our stamp and an indelible moment for AEW in the history of St. Louis wrestling, which is so rich. it's a great town, and it was great to have Dynasty debut here in St. Louis tonight. Thank you.
Question over here.
So I guess that footage that aired on Dynamite, I think some people might say you probably were right, or maybe some people might disagree, because I felt like Jack Perry today felt like a bigger star than he was before. Can you just talk about Jack Perry's return tonight and the crowd reaction for him?
Well, I'm really excited about a lot of things happening in AEW. I think Jack Perry's return got a lot of excitement. It got a huge reaction. Again, I mentioned we were in Chicago. It was a great night for the company when Jon Moxley became the IWGP World Champion, and I got to watch Jack Perry's return to American wrestling in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He got a massive star reaction at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Windy City show, and I think he's been doing great work in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And when you go over, do an excursion, have a great run like he had in the New Japan Cup, and a great performance like he had against Shota in Chicago, I think that had a lot to do with it. I do think we made a bold call in the run-up to this match, and really it heightened the circumstances, and I do think it added to the presentation of the moment of Jack Perry's return tonight at AEW Dynasty. And the pay-per-view was a home run, and I think a lot of people felt like it was a great return. Also, I felt like it was important to explain partially where Jack's been, because the last time we saw him on AEW television was at Wembley Stadium. He went through the curtain, we never saw him again since, so I did feel like some responsibility to the viewer, given I knew Jack was going to return to AEW, that explain where he's been.
Another question over here.
Hey Tony, Caden Lee, Russell Pierce. Mercedes Moné's debut match in AEW was announced tonight against Willow at Double or Nothing. With about 70 days between Big Business, her debut in AEW in general, and then her debut match, a lot of fans are speculating about the status of Mercedes Moné coming off of that injury last year against Willow. Is Mercedes Moné right now cleared for a singles match?
She'll be cleared at Double or Nothing for the singles match, and that was a big part of this, knowing that it's been a major road for her to return from the injury. Big Business, we did a great crowd in Boston. It was a great crowd last year in Boston. We drew even more fans this year for Big Business, and really stepped up, and I think her presence was a huge part of that, and it was great to have that moment, but also start building up some real excitement around the championship, some real excitement around AEW to have a top free agent arrive on the big stage like that on Dynamite in the TD Garden in Mercedes' hometown. Got a great reaction. I think it's built a lot of excitement. Now we know Mercedes is going to challenge for the TBS title. Like Willow said, she's going to be an active champion. So we do know Mercedes has been out about a year. When she wrestles at Double or Nothing, it will be a full year since she last wrestled, and it was against Willow, which, she blames Willow for causing this injury, and really they've been butting heads since Mercedes arrived, but there are a lot of variables here. We've seen backstage attacks, assailants, and Willow has said she's going to be a fighting champion, so there could be more matches before, but we know Mercedes will be cleared for later in May, about just over a month from now, Double or Nothing. I'm really excited for it, for Mercedes to come here. She's one of the most decorated champions in wrestling. I think for her to walk in, somebody with one of the best resumes of any champion in the sport, to come in and challenge, it makes a lot of sense. For the TBS and the TNT championships, we've had outsiders come in. It's a little different than the top 5 rankings criteria we've had around the World Championship or the World Tag Team Championship or the World Women's Championship. I definitely think what we've seen with Mercedes in her career, she's one of the best big match spotlight wrestlers in the sport. And when she was wrestling Willow last time, the fact is she got hurt. She's been out now a year going into this match, and Willow has really stepped up in that time. Willow is the TBS champion. She's going to be an active TBS champion. If she is still the TBS champion going into Double or Nothing, she'll go in not only the TBS champion, but the reigning Owen Hart Foundation Cup winner, and the last person to beat, the last person to wrestle, and really the person to put Mercedes Moné on the sidelines, all the above. So a lot of excitement around the match. So she will be cleared for Double or Nothing for sure. Thank you.
Do a few more for Tony right back here.
Alicia McPherson, I'm with Fox 2 News 11 here in St. Louis. You said St. Louis has a great wrestling history and is a great wrestling town. Is that a commitment to bring another pay-per-view back?
I would love to come back, and the pay-per-view calendar is set for the rest of this year, but definitely after a great night tonight, St. Louis, we'll be back. I can't wait more events here, and down the line, I would love to bring a pay-per-view back to St. Louis. I think we've already announced all the pay-per-views for the rest of 2024, but absolutely in the future. I think after the first AEW Dynasty, tonight was such an amazing night, largely due to the amazing environment that the city of St. Louis and the crowd provided. We'd love to come back to St. Louis. It was a great pay-per-view debut for us, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. That crowd was wild all night.
They were really good.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, and I'll take some more questions. I know a lot of you traveled in. It's great to see you. So let's keep talking.
Question over here.
Andrew Britt, Final Bell Media. Hi, Tony. With your media rights looming, is there a possibility that you would take all three of your shows to a streaming platform?
Well, it's a great question. I think it's something to consider. There are sports that have done that, and when you look at different media rights, some people have split among a platform of streaming and linear TV, cable TV. We're gonna have a lot of great options. Right now, I think we're in an exclusive negotiating window with Warner Brothers Discovery, which is amazing. We have really an amazing relationship, and I think it's a really great thing to have wrestling on TBS and TNT for the fans every week. It's a great tradition. It's a great American tradition, and I really, really love it. And all things, to me, I love being here, and I can't wait to keep talking, keep figuring it out. But I definitely think you can count in 2025 on, at a minimum, the opportunity to stream the amazing library that we've built. With hundreds and hundreds of hours, we're gonna get this figured out. I know in 2025, we'll have now it's crazy because we're approaching, I think, 240 episodes of Dynamite. And we've done over 100 episodes of Rampage. We're coming up on a year of Collision. We've done this amazing library of pay-per-views. And when I acquired Ring of Honor, now that's thousands of hours of great footage, including the Sinclair years, the HD Night years, lots of great pay-per-views, events, the original All In, and we have a great partnership with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and they have a great library too. There's so many great opportunities for not only our own content, but to bring in more. It's going to be really interesting to see in 2025. I think we've shown now with the debut of AEW Dynasty, we've got this amazing track record of delivering on pay-per-view events. So there'll be so much great content, but for the future of Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, I think there's a great opportunity to reach the fans across multiple platforms. And really, after doing a great show like this and great shows like Revolution and the great run we've been on lately, it bodes really well, I think, for us having a lot of good options for next year. Thanks, Drew.
Another one over here.
Hi, Tony. Phil from Bleacher Report. Tonight's pay-per-view is available on Triller and YouTube. Is that going to be something going forward that you guys will still do? And moving forward with the increase in pay-per-views, is there any talks with the streaming to, increase the pay-per-view distribution other places other than Bleacher Report?
Well, right now, I think that deal is set for at least 2 more pay-per-views that it's going to be distributed across multiple platforms. So definitely for Double or Nothing in May, and then in June, Forbidden Door, those will be streamed across, I think, all these platforms. I believe pretty much all of them we saw tonight, Triller, YouTube, obviously Bleacher Report, our home since the beginning, and ppv.com, a number of streaming platforms, in addition to cable, Dave & Buster's, a lot of ways to watch a show. I believe we know for at least the next 2 pay-per-views, the multiple platform approach is going to be there, and then we're planning for the future. But so far, I've heard great things about it tonight, and it's very well received, and it's great for us to have lots of options to reach all the pay-per-view consumers with such a great show like tonight for AEW. Thanks, Phil.
Over here, Tony. Hey, how's it going, Tony? Daryl Starks for Covalent TV. I just want to ask, you talk about Warner Brothers Discovery. I just want to ask you, where's the morale with Warner Brothers Discovery? How happy are they with the product currently?
Very happy. I heard from them, great show tonight, and been hearing really great things. The past few weeks, the Dynamite numbers significantly up from where they were the last couple weeks, and the pay-per-view tonight, tremendous. And to come off Revolution, I think, like I said, right after Will left, it's like we did one of our best pay-per-views ever. To me, the original Revolution and this past Revolution are probably the 2 best shows, arguably, that we've done. And to have that, follow up on it with another one of the best shows is pretty cool. And they were thrilled with it. So I've already got the text right before I walked in here about what a great event it was, how happy they are with it, and really, really good feedback on Dynamite and also Collision last night. It was really exciting to be able to do the 3-hour blocks on Saturdays lately. We have another 3-hour block coming up this Saturday, and that's pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to going back to Jacksonville this week. Saturday will be a 3-hour block. We've got NFL draft coming up. We have NFL Films in the house filming. I'll have a busy run in Jacksonville. We'll be doing Collision, and I'll be working on the undrafted free agents, all the ultimate multitasking scenario on Jacksonville on Saturday. But before then, on Wednesday, we have our homecoming show in Jacksonville, and I'm really, really excited about it. It's really cool to be able to go back there. Like I said, it's a great thing for the company to have Jon Moxley as the IWGP World Champion. Last night we saw Mox at Collision, and we saw Powerhouse Hobbs and Don Callis, who's got a lot of pull in New Japan, has gone and played his old IWGP political games. And like he said, he led Kenny Omega to the IWGP title. He's been a mastermind over there before, and I do think it's going to be a great match on Wednesday. I would like to remind everybody, we found out the show is coast to coast live. We'll be reminding people about, we said it a few times last night and said it again tonight. The show's on at 5 p.m. Pacific this week, so for our West Coast fans, it's not your usual 8 p.m. start time. We're on live, coast to coast. We're the lead-in for the NHL, which is a great opportunity for us to be the lead-in. I think they'll get a nice lead-in from us for their game. And we love being the beneficiary of great lead-ins sometimes too, and I think Saturday we're gonna have a great lead-in from the NBA playoffs. So Collision starting probably 8:30 on Saturday, which gives me a little extra time to get the best undrafted free agents signed up and get my golf cart back and forth between the stadium and Daly's Place. Really, really great show tonight, and I think they were thrilled with it. I already heard from them, but it's a big week coming up anytime we go back to Jacksonville Daly's Place. Thanks.
Question over here.
Hi Tony, Danielle Livingston from Blackwell Wrestling. I guess I would just ask, so AEW Dynasty is obviously a brand new pay-per-view. How would you say that it performed for you guys, whether it be financially or in the ring? How would you overall rate it?
I think it's looking really positive. The multiple streaming platforms hopefully will work for us. We've had a really good response across these new platforms. So it's all data still coming in, and we've got it coming in from a lot more sources. So it's still adding up, but it was a really, really great show, and looking very positive, especially for an inaugural pay-per-view. It could be one of our best franchise launches. A bunch of people were saying it really felt like we launched a new franchise tonight, which is amazing because we've had really expanded, from where we started. It's crazy to think where we are now, going from, we used to do 2 hours of TV, now we do 5 hours every week, and we started with, quarterly 4 really great shows. We added Forbidden Door to go to 5 and 22. Last year expanded to 8, 9 now. We've gone from 4 to 9 since we began, and it feels like each one has added something and made the experience better. And I think that speaks to the quality of the wrestling and the roster, that we've gone from doing 2 hours of TV to 5 every week, and that we've gone from doing 4 pay-per-views a year to 9, and that we actually feel really, I think, stronger, and we've added. It's pretty great. And really, to look back at it now, consistently doing great shows. A lot of people thought this was one of our best weeks of TV. I think it was a really great week. Dynamite was really great. Collision and Rampage last night, really strong. And then, adding the pay-per-view in too. It's just start to finish great. Going back to Jacksonville, it feels really good. And I think we've really launched a great business tonight with Dynasty. Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else that hasn't asked Tony a question that would like to ask him? Back over here.
David Perry, Evan Max, World of Wrestling. Tony, you're from Peoria, Illinois, right?
I'm from Champaign, Illinois,
Champaign.
but it's close by.
It was a bit of a homecoming for you yesterday, right?
Yes, sir.
I have a question. Do you have any updates on the impending return of MJF?
Well, it's a great question. I don't know how those two things are connected, but that was a good lead-in. You buttered me up. Well, yes, MJF, one of the biggest stars in AEW. We haven't seen him in recent months. And I would love to get MJF back here soon, sooner than later, like really soon. We would, we've got so many great things happening, and I think that would be really additive. He's one of our great wrestlers, and we've had great things happening in AEW lately. A lot of great milestones just in the last really couple months. I mean, to go from Revolution, one of the best shows top to bottom, great matches. Like, we listed out all the great matches, and to hit the button of Sting's retirement, maybe one of the greatest send-offs ever. I think the greatest send-off ever. And then have Jon Moxley win the IWGP World Championship, coming to Jacksonville this week to defend it against Powerhouse Hobbs. And then have Dynasty be such a huge home run. Everything's going so great for AEW right now. I think that would be something that would add a lot. That'd be awesome to have MJF back, and soon. I would love that.
Okay, last call. Anyone that hasn't asked Tony a question? Over here.
Hi, Joel Torres, Contralona. Alongside MJF, there are also two stars that are missing, Kenny Omega and Dr. Britt Baker. What can you tell us about them?
Well, I would look forward to seeing both of them as soon as we possibly can. I think both of them have been recuperating from totally different things, and both great former world champions for AEW, and hopefully we can see them both soon. Going to Winnipeg, it would be great, even if he can't return, to see Kenny Omega. I think that would be pretty awesome for the fans up there. So that's still something I'm optimistic hopefully we could do. But also, for Dr. Britt Baker, the sooner she's back, the better. She's a great world champion for us and a great representative of AEW. We've missed her, and that would be tremendous. We saw Adam Cole back tonight, and hopefully see Dr. Britt Baker back sometime soon too. And we've missed Kenny Omega. I've talked to him a few times this week, and he's one of our greatest champions, one of our greatest stars ever, and he's been here from the beginning, so we definitely miss him.
Okay, I think we got everybody on this side.
Anybody who came and traveled, I'd love to make sure everyone gets at least one question.
Going once?
Great.
I think we're good.
It's great. Well, I appreciate you all being here. Thank you. Luckily, it's a pretty central location, so it's not too far for anyone, I hope, but I really appreciate everybody, local media and everybody who traveled to be here. Without all of you covering AEW from the very beginning, really when we launched, especially before we had TV, it was really a lot of you that gave us these great opportunities and made it possible to launch AEW. So God bless you, and thank you for being here. Thank you, Renee, for hosting this.
Of course.
It's great. Let's hear for Renee.
Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. Everybody get home safe, and hopefully we'll be able to see all your faces at Double or Nothing.